I had my degree in oil painting. I had a degree in construction industry tech, and I was looking for a way to sort of combine these two passions of mine. I wasn't okay anymore in construction, knowing that we really sort of harmed land. I was the liaison to the community. And when you're dealing with the construction of a shopping center, it's every upset resident. It's everybody who gets a little animal caught in their yard because we're chasing them out. And so it made me so sad. And so I wanted to use my knowledge and my power for good instead of evil. So I think every mural artist sort of starts with home commissions. And a lot of those, I think, come through your friends and family. But when I knew that I wanted to make it my business, I went looking for places that needed artwork. And for me, growing up in the east side of San Jose, that was a lot of public schools that got hit with graffiti. So I found a way to use my skill. Now, while I was on one of those campuses, let's see, can I do it this way? Here we go. When I was on one of these campuses, a daughter had left her brand new iPhone at school, and the father came back to school to go looking for the iPhone. And this father found me painting at this school, and lo and behold, they were the owners of the Falafel Drive In. So talk about being at the right place at the right time. They looked at my artwork. They were getting graffiti in their sort of Burbank, Midtown neighborhood there. And this absolutely solved all of their problems. With this, what they asked me for was really different than what a school or a homeowner would ask for. They asked me for something San Jose. And for me, that set off a bunch of bells and whistles. And you'll see what I'm talking about with the rest of my portfolio. But this was the first time I'd ever really thought about what indicates place. This is Eastridge Mall. This is 4 years old now. This was one of my first big opportunities. So this is 4 walls that all combine to say something about this area in San Jose, that it's connected to San Jose as a whole. It's connected to the downtown. It was beautiful orchards. This cool circuit board pattern was a way of handling the fire poles that run through the wall while still having some sort of cool pattern, some sort of cohesiveness to it. And then the other wall with the hillside actually blends into the hillside that you can see off to the east there. And so with this, I started designing and pitching this project as photo walls. We didn't really have a good word for what this was at the time. And what we did was we created a new place, that these murals created a backdrop for people's lives. And that's something I work really intensely on, is how art integrates with digital technology. And it's as simple as having an Instagram backdrop for people to take photos of. And that's really strong for businesses, because then they have a backdrop to do the same. This is in downtown Morgan Hill. This was one of the first pieces of brand new construction I'd ever done. This is in Prescott, Arizona. This was my first out-of-state job.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yes, please.
No, okay. Yeah, I guess what is this oil or acrylic, or is this yeah, airbrush or?
So I mostly work with Kelly Moore house paint because I'm working in such great quantities and because I have to warranty these products later. Um, I have to be able to go back and store the products I've used or be able to rebuy them at the drop of a hat. The other thing I really like to use is spray paint. And there are mural spray paints, and the colors are just mind bending. And it covers a lot of space in a short amount of time. It dries really fast. There are a ton of great reasons to use spray paint. Neons are one of those. Neon colors do not come out of a tube for whatever reason. This is downtown Willow Glen on Lincoln Avenue. This was the first project where, and I was still painting. I was maybe 50% of the way through the project, but I had gotten to this centerpiece, the green Willow Glen sign down the middle, and this gaggle of girls with their designer bags, these college age girls marching back to their cars and talking all loud. And all of a sudden they see the mural and they all drop their $100 purses on the gross floor. And they start taking pictures and doing their duck faces. And something just snapped for me that this was a way to get people excited about art that is wholly new. This is sort of uncharted territory. People stop and take pictures in front of murals, sure, but are murals designed for people to take pictures in front of?
Yeah.
Okay. This is in Santa Clara. This is on Lawrence Expressway. There's a grocery outlet to one side and the Spirit Halloween store to the other. This was, some of these black and white photos are home photos, are family photos. Some of them are close-ups on blossoms. This middle section, however, started with a roadway map. So this was the original railroad, and the railroad stop for Lawrence and sort of the Santa Clara area. But what ended up happening with the roadways growing up around it is that there were no freeways at the beginning. And what this shows is how much traffic there was where to necessitate there being now an expressway, Lawrence Expressway here, as well as 280 and 101. And so I see all of that going on there. I don't know if anybody's looking at it that hard. The old railroad station is down in the corner. The Carmen cherry label was from cherries that were actually picked on this property. Where the
it's cool. I'm curious, how long do you do research? Because it looks like you do a lot of research for this.
I do a lot of research and collaboration with every piece now. It's really fantastic that way. You know, so with the Falafel Drive In, they hired me. We had planned to do one wall, and of course we got a little carried away and we've done them all now. But so there I was researching the entire time throughout. Nowadays, I have to have all this research done by the time we're ready to close a contract. I have to make sure that I've done this sketch, this drawing, and given this client the proper expectation so that nobody feels let down. I don't feel let down by how much I'm taking away or putting into anything. And my clients have seen a sketch. I paint better than I sketch. So people are usually pretty happy. This is in downtown San Jose. There is one thing happening here that didn't actually take place, and the building's now going to get ripped down, so does not matter. But this was designed to have a theater light pointed at it so that it would, the colors would change periodically, which is why it's so simple in color. But this is on 2nd Street and Santa Clara, looking at the light rail station. And it's, again, about to get torn down sometime this year. This is behind Tabard Theater. This is San Pedro Square.
Lila, I was wondering, so when you do this type of work, do your clients have a clear idea of what they want, or do you propose them several options and then they choose they choose from the different options?
Yeah, so often clients will come to me with a feeling, and I have to somehow draw my way through a feeling or through a place or through a period of time, and try to capture and show the client what it is I think they were saying to me. And so often, so it's always better to come with too much research, so that if it's not something that they've seen from you, then it's something you're at least knowledgeable about. Oh, I could have put that in. Let's see how we can use that. But I do so much collaboration these days. It is so much a back and forth. And quite often it is a year in between a client reaching out to me and saying, hey, we have a job, we have money set aside, and me actually getting there and starting to paint. This is the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds. So in my work, I meet with a lot of politicians and developers because that's where a lot of my funding comes from. In this particular situation, it was the 75th anniversary of the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds. I was on a historical commission of theirs discussing how we need to keep this fair alive and sort of how can we keep it authentic to Santa Clara County. And that's something that I feel very strongly of as a very young participant of it. So I had this great idea facing Old Tully Road, which would therefore also improve the neighboring district and neighborhood around the fairgrounds. But this is Gateway Hall. And so often the fairgrounds feels like San Jose's fairgrounds because it's right in the middle of San Jose. And I spent a little time thinking about how can we put the onus on everybody? How can we make this everybody's fairgrounds and give everybody a backdrop no matter where it is you're from in Santa Clara County to come and participate in this sort of social media experiment I've been sort of working on for a while here. So I raised $100,000 and I got to hire the artists I wanted to. I asked for input from every single city, but a lot of them like didn't return my phone call, didn't understand that the funds were already there. It's not going on your property. You don't got to do anything else for me other than give me a recommendation. A couple of my favorite of these recommendations was the town of Las Gatas had a lady who had just painted an electrical box, and they loved this work. They loved this work so much they remembered her name right off the top of their head. And I gave her a call to go and hire her, and she'd never done a mural before, or she'd never done a painting this size. And you know, it's a risky proposition to give somebody an opportunity. But oh my gosh, what a great opportunity that was. Another one of these recommendations that went really well for me is I met several years ago with a city councilman named Larry Klein, who's now the mayor of Sunnyvale. And when I had this opportunity, I got to reach out to an old buddy and say, hey, who do you know from Sunnyvale who can, you know, really take this on and represent? And he goes, I just judged this art competition. I had a fantastic time. I couldn't imagine a better group than the Sunnyvale Arts Club. And there I got to watch this really excited group of people sort of figure it out and got to empower them. And so, you know, as a curator, it went really well. I got to pick people who were not the same style going next to one another. So nobody felt threatened, but everybody looks confident. That was something that was really important for me. Although I think some of the murals down the way between Francisco and Morgan, I think they started to duel a little bit. I think Francisco decided to put in the extra time. And Pam, I think, got tied up with that. I think they all started looking at each other like, oh, I'm going to be the best around here. You're still getting the same amount of money. You better just hurry up and finish. But that's a part of being a business person and sort of knowing where that line is for you personally and knowing when you're about to start losing money. Let's see.
We enjoyed it and stuff. Our club did it, and we really loved it and stuff. The two people in the middle are from our club.
Yes. Well, and I believe the corner picture is your guys' club too. I'm not sure if you guys can see that.
I think that's Jenny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jenny, Penny, myself, and Deepthi.
Yeah. And Kataki and
Yeah.
Kanchan are the ones in the middle.
Yeah. And I think that's Lavon, by the way.
Oh yeah. That was fun. We met the other muralists because we were curious to see what they were doing and stuff. And yeah, it was like you. A lot of them were earning. We were envious of them because they earn a living from their murals like you do. And so, you know, one of the reasons I wanted you for the talk is because it was so interesting talking to you about how you do your business and stuff. And I thought, wow, I think, you know, we had such an enjoyable time doing a mural and stuff. If you do another one, we would love to do it again.
Well, I think to me, the biggest thing is that our club has always sort of suffered financially, and all of a sudden we have money.
That's another reason we want you to do our mural. We want the money.
Well, you know, let me just name drop again that you guys have a great supporter in your mayor. And you know, what sort of separates me from some of our other artists who were on site is how you work the system. And I absolutely work it. I absolutely know when the right time is to put on the pretty dress and go out and meet people. And, you know, when the right time to show up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and start a job is. But where your funds come from is huge. And, you know, maybe a sweet way of tricking your mayor into putting some funds aside for you guys to come out and paint would be to place it on city property somewhere, like a city park.
Right now, Mountain View has is a call for artists right now for a mural. I think it's due next week, but you know, I think it got sent out, but there is a call for artists to do a mural in somewhere in Mountain View. I think a swim club or something. So
Wonderful.
I don't know if the same people who are doing last year's are doing it. I don't have time right now, but if somebody else would want to do it and stuff, it'd be cool because yeah, it was one of the funnest parts of the club last year, was doing that mural. So yeah.
Definitely. I think after that, it actually got like so many of us together, and I don't know if fortunately during this just during the pandemic, we all started doing this online meet, and it has actually brought in so many new projects. And because of that, I think we happen to know so many different like, you know, all of these people actually came together during those mural times. So it was so much fun to do that.
Yeah, it as for a community, as a communal experience, it can be so rewarding. It brings people together. You're sharing ideas, you're collaborating, you're working on something as a team. And that is so much fun. As a living, making a living at it, it is so lonesome. I work all alone, day in and day out. And unfortunately, I don't know any artist teams making a living. I only know solo artists who are able to sort of make this competitive. And I think some of that is ego, and I think some of that is communication. That if, you know, what is blue to me isn't blue to you, then we're not going to be happy with the end result. Or, you know, finding people who are reliable are so hard. So this fairgrounds job, I really found out what other business people were made of. There was an artist who I greatly respected before having met her by looking at her portfolio, totally respected her. And then she didn't show up. She took her deposit first. She didn't show up. She wanted to go and take a vacation, finished the day before. And as a manager, you got to let go of some of the things you can't control. But
We showed up. We all of us showed up. Yeah, we were actually thrilled. We were having fun and stuff. I think the only thing was just it got cold at night sometimes, but other than that, it was fun.
Well, so I think that's my problem with it is when I get the paint, I spend 20% of my year painting. I spend the other 80% of the year drawing, designing, purchasing, networking, filling out different proposals and bids, and just giving it everything I got. I spend 20% of the year painting, and on the days I know I get to wake up and paint in the morning, I cannot sleep. And I'm up and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at like 4 a.m. I have to force myself to roll back up. So I don't understand the whole, like, I got paid, but I don't want to go work. I can't imagine. I have a love for it. Like you guys have a love for art. It is absolutely my passion. It still flips my cookie after 25 years. I'm still really excited about it. Does anybody have any? I'm going to go forward a little bit with this presentation. This is the project that I'm working on right now. COVID happened, and like 2 weeks into it, I was freaking out. All of my projects got pushed all the way back for the foreseeable future. And all of a sudden, a developer reached out to me and goes, "Hey, what do you think of vinyl on walls?" And I said, "Hey, it costs about the same amount to install vinyl and maintain it as it does to paint a mural." And they said, "Okay, we have 15 murals we'd like painted." So I have lucked into this giant job. I have painted 5 of the 15 so far. These are the first two. Here's the next three that I just finished. And I like just dropped in some background. I'm not going to show you what I did today, but this is very typical of some of the design work that we go through before we get to a job. I do a lot of photoshopping, showing people what a sketch is going to look like on their wall. And I try to get those colors pretty exact. You know, I've had one of my favorite clients was colorblind, which meant I could get as bright and crazy with the color as I wanted to. It was all the same difference to him.
Where are these?
This is a new shopping center being built off of Berryessa Road across from the flea market. So Bart's gone in behind the flea market. There's a whole bunch of housing all the way around me. There's a little park off in the corner. There's Coyote Creek Trail in front of the bridge piece, the creek piece. And then this is literally on a Safeway. This is the Safeway building. I did a series of orchards looking down from Alum Rock Road on the side of a Chase Bank. And I'm working on 8 more that go around this Safeway. There's one that's going to go on a gas station and one that's going to go on a CVS.
I have a question about the vinyl. Do you paint the vinyl and then hang it, or do you print the vinyl?
I'm so glad you asked, because this is an option for anybody to have sort of an easily maintained mural, no matter what your medium is. So you can scan your artwork no matter what medium and have that printed whatever size you need it to be. So let's see.
I'm curious, where do you print it at? I mean, that sounds like a huge thing to print.
It's actually not so bad. There are lots of places that do it. I go with an old vendor I used to use to print blueprints. That's the relationship I have. But all sorts of graphics companies will do this for you. So let's see. Hopefully you guys can see this Eastridge Center again.
Yep.
There's a bank of doors where it says Valley of Heart's Delight. And those were printed on vinyl.
Mm.
So I painted the mural and then drew in the doors to fit over. I had this whole big rectangle that I hadn't quite figured out. And then I drew that in.
What a fun way to do murals in your own house. If you're too afraid, because I have this wall behind the dining room table, and I am too afraid to paint right on the wall because, you don't want something too crazy right in front of the dining room. But how fun to paint on vinyl and then be able to swap it out when you're tired of it.
Absolutely. But can I just say, it's just paint.
Right.
Color, and it takes an hour to dry. If you don't like what you've done, you can just paint it out.
Right.
It's one of the hardest things doing this professionally and doing this really large and in charge sometimes is sometimes things go wrong and you do just sort of have to paint it out and start over again. And you can't take it hard on yourself and get bent out of shape. But it's just paint. That's the nice thing, is any mistake you make, you can just cover it with more paint. It's not watercolor. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, when you paint, and do you first put like gesso first, or do you just paint immediately on like how do you transfer the drawing onto the wall first, and then when you paint on the wall, do you first fix it with anything, or do you just paint right on the wall?
So the paints that I'm using are made for exteriors of buildings. I am literally adding on to the epidermis of the building. So, you know, when I'm doing brand new construction, they come through and they prime them for me. They use a product that they know that they can warranty and maintain, in something that's waterproof. So I'm so spoiled. So often I don't have to worry about it. But very often I do have to worry about it. And I worry about it when I see things with sheens on them. Anything with a crack in it, I know that I have to sand down and then prime. I usually prime before I trace, because that's sort of one whole coat that you want to keep. You want to keep that as like one whole skin. Talk about it as an epidermis, it's one whole skin. And then I use a projector to trace my pictures onto the wall. That being said, even though I do use a projector, I have all these drawings that I have, if everything goes right, all the math figured out. In a perfect world, this fingernail hangs at, 5 feet across and 7 feet tall. Things like that. This piece of fruit falls, the furthest curve left is, here. I have those things sort of figured out so that in between prepping and tracing, I can do some of the work in between.
How long did it take you to paint this East Ridge Center? This looks like a huge place.
It was and is one of the largest projects I've ever done. I did a lot of growing on this project in that I learned how to use spray paint. And when I learned, and I used spray paint because this was an area that was getting graffitied. I couldn't see putting some elegant Renaissance artwork there that was just going to get defaced. So when I started spray painting, I figured out that I could go a lot faster than I ever realized. It was so fast, it covered so much space, and it was so bright. You weren't doing second coats of most things. I mean, yellows kind of need it. But by golly, it only took me 20 days to get from one end to the other. So each of these took me 5 days.
And how old is this? Like, how do you maintain it? Do you go in between to see whether it's chipped off or it's okay? How old is it?
So this project is turning 5 this year. I go by most of my project sites on an annual basis at the very least. And just, let's take a look. Let's see if anything's faded. Let's see if anything's, cracked or bubbling. And I still have never had to touch anything up. I am using exterior house paints that are on weatherproofed surfaces, mostly brick and concrete. So, I mean, my science in that way is really, really strong. Some things I will say that I noticed happening in murals in my own backyard where I was practicing before I started doing them professionally, was that my same acrylics from my sort of home set were getting washed out when I put them on the side of a wall. I would absolutely bleach cadmiums. And so anything red, yellow, orange, or burnt sienna, totally white at the end. At the end of about 2 months, did not take long at all. So that's when I figured out that I had to start using something else that I could ensure stayed bright. And I still haven't had to touch anything up because of the subject matter I use, because it's all visual storytelling and sense of place. Nothing gets tagged. Not even my little drip marks on 2nd Street in Santa Clara. That I can't believe that's not gotten tagged. That's just bright, fun color. It's really interesting. When I decided to do this professionally, I decided I had to make it sound like you needed artwork, or else your building was doomed, or else you were going to get graffiti, or you were going to get, and a lot of the times I see huge patches of graffiti, or patches that have been painted out. And I walk into that store with my business card and, hey, I'm a mural artist. I was walking by. I see you have a need. Try to create an opportunity in that way. And the same way with the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds, try to create an opportunity. So often people will not be sitting there with the perfect job for you. You have to go and create the job for yourself.
I have a question. So I was wondering how many layers of paint would spray painting would take?
You shouldn't like layer a whole bunch of spray paint. But the rule of thumb is sort of don't layer wet layers of spray paint.
Okay.
Usually if you let them dry in between, they are fast drying enough that they're going to adhere to the wall. But if you get multiple layers, it starts getting real confused down there real quick. And I learned some of that with the drips at the top here of the Eastridge project. That's started dripping down with other colors folded into it and other shapes folded in, and that was not what I was going for. Thank goodness it's high up.
Sure, thank you.
One of the other things I would say, especially for the lady with the dining room table, or with the dining room mural idea, and that's that the things that really bother me, nobody else sees. As an artist, our need to be perfect, that's ego driven, and more often than not, you are communicating, but you have a particular way you want to see it. Other people's minds are still doing the psychology. They're still not having to work real hard to figure out what you're going for. They didn't know that you made a boo-boo.
Right. Well, good. I'm just going to put any old big flower right in front of the dinner table.
Be brave.
I just want to share, I was in Malaysia for 2 years, and there was a school for the, not very privileged children. And they had about 5 or 6 walls, outside walls, inside the hall. And I decided to paint it. And it took me almost 6 months. I'm not so fast as you are. So then, because that was more for charity, I did it. And then that school became very popular because everybody said, okay, that school is having lots of walls which are painted. And I can understand how you feel once when you make such a big painting, you want people to see it. And so it's good. I'm really happy, and I really love your work. I really love your work.
Thank you so much. I should probably tell you that the Falafel Drive In being my first really big job and my first job really sort of in the way of customers and clients, that took me 7 months. That was That is definitely not my biggest job, nor my most detailed job. And it's
Beautiful.
wild.
My daughter and a child took a bicycle trip to see the different murals in San Jose, and I don't know how they knew where to go. Is there a map of this type of thing for San Jose?
Unfortunately, no, but I'm trying to talk to Google right now about making a map that covers our arts and our culture here in San Jose, so that it could be that sort of, I'm on a bike, where's the closest next thing? I would love to see more of that. And that's some of the integration that I'd love to see. And you know, I'm so lucky to get to dabble in big ideas like that.
You know, one of the things, show us, you know, maybe have a map of some of your murals too and stuff so we can visit and stuff, because that would be cool and stuff. But yeah, when you do the San Jose one, if they do it and stuff, share us that too. But I would specifically, because some of your murals look huge.
We would love to see.
I have found that the broader the artwork is, the bigger the mural is, basically. The easier it is, the quicker it goes. I didn't know that before. I thought it was the other way around, that if I keep these images like really small and manageable, then I could get through it all real quickly. That way. But I do have a map, and it has over 100 murals in Santa Clara County. It is a whole day bike ride. And you could even start down in Morgan Hill if you wanted to, and then make your way up, and it would still be just a whole day thing. But our downtown—
So it's a bike ride mural thing? It's a bike ride, bicycle? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. My mom does the AIDS 545. So every year they try to do a tour around my murals. I provide the bananas.
I had a question for you. So you mentioned that you create your own opportunities. So I was wondering, what is the most effective way, in your opinion, to get new projects and new contracts?
Well, so the way to get new contracts is always going to be to do your best work, to do your most reliable work all the time.
So do you mean by recommendation? So once you're done with a project, if the customer was happy, then you have a good recommendation from that person?
Exactly. And they had a good experience with you. And they'll hire you again if there's more work. But one of the most effective things I have found for me personally is relationship building. I know that I'm not the most talented artist, but I can set myself apart and can say, you know, I'm the one who's willing to do the most work for you. I'm the one who's, you know, willing to sit here and kiss your butt for a year before I get to pick up a paintbrush. And that is really appropriate for property owners. Now, in different fields of art, creating that opportunity is going to be different. Some of the opportunities I've created are like going to the mayor and asking for funding, going to a city council person, knowing that they have discretionary funds that they can spend in this way. So knowing where you're getting paid is huge. If that's going to be private clients, then you ought to know that. If you're hanging artwork in a cafe, think about other things that you can sell in a cafe. Is it stationery? Is it artwork on mugs? Is it prints of the artwork already created that's on the wall so that you're ready with the sale? You have to put yourself in that good opportunity, in that good position for an opportunity.
Thank you.
Talking about the marketing and stuff. So marketing for you is just as important. Marketing your talent is just as important. Yes.
Unfortunately, I so I grew up as a child oil painting before the internet was in people's homes. You would comb through expired catalogs and old books looking for the right landscape that you wanted to paint, and you'd rip something out of a book so that you could draw grid line. I mean, like, start from scratch. And that was an experience I thought was going to separate me from other artists, and it just didn't. I had Eastridge Mall telling me, we would love to hire you for this project, but you're not on Instagram. You don't have any sort of following. You're not willing to keep this up, or what's going on. And I explained what I just explained to you guys. I've always been an artist. It always meant using two hands to me, not using the phone. And so adopting that new approach, because a really big client told me that it would be worth my while and like really put some effort into this. It has changed my entire career. It has changed the scope of my career. It has changed who I work for. It has changed how my artwork is considered, who it reaches. But I had a couple of really painful experiences trying to raise funds for another project on public property, where the head of marketing for this technology company looked at this little artist, all excited with her portfolio and her good ideas. And he goes, well, we'd love to donate to your cause, but who are you? I was like, I'm the girl fighting back tears right now. I'll tell you who I am. And thank goodness for opportunities like that. And those experiences to sort of dig down deep and go, oh, you need to start showing up for yourself. You need to start networking and shaking hands, and you need to let people know that there's a person that goes along with your art. And experiences like with Eastridge, they're absolutely opportunities for growth. So I hope everybody's got an Instagram, because your perfect client might be halfway across the world and you don't know.
I think our club is trying to get an Instagram at some point. So.
Yay, please let me know how I can support.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
I just had a look at your Instagram and it just looks beautiful. So I wanted to tell you. And you basically post a new picture anytime you finish a new work, I guess?
Only the works that I feel really strongly about. Not everything that crosses my drawing board is amazing. I post a lot of my drawings on Instagram in between when I'm designing and painting a mural. I still find time to create artwork that is luscious for me, that is self-curative and cathartic for myself. And so much of that I've actually been able to turn around and sell, because apparently I'm not the only one who feels this way. But yeah, most of the times I try to keep it going. I try to post one picture a week at least. Sometimes I can get going on more, depending on the size of the paper. A lot of my works, though, that I'm doing from home are like 36 inches across and 18 inches tall. They're just huge, which is why I have no problem putting multiple boxes next to each other. I want you to see all of it. I drew all of it. See it all.
That sounds cool. That sounds cool. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I guess we can. If any, I'll wait. But I guess unless anybody else has any questions, I guess that's we thank you very much and stuff. But let me hold for a second just to make sure nobody else has any questions and stuff.
I have one more question, if you don't mind, but I don't want to speak too much. So if anyone wants to go first. No, you're good. Okay, so I was wondering, so you have an audience of more than 2,000 followers on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So what was your technique to grow your social audience? Oh, or you basically just ask all your friends or everybody you know to follow you? Well, so I did that to start with, but then I found large companies and large public figures who had like minds, like mine. And so I started liking them, and then people would like me after that. And then I started finding galleries that I really liked, and people started finding me after that. So there is definitely a strategy that'll work for your type of business or your type of art. Hashtags are a huge part of how people find me. If you go hashtag San Jose or hashtag rainbow art or hashtag all these different things, you can tap into different audiences that way. And being very intentional about your hashtags will put you in front of the most people possible. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things they don't really tell you about when you hop on there. Oh yeah, hop on. You'll get a whole bunch of people to follow you. No, it is really hard work. I'm not gonna lie. And I wish I had more than 2,000. I wish I was batting 10,000 followers right now. I don't know where they're at. I know that I've had over 10,000 people see my artwork.
Oh. I'll share your Instagram and our Facebook page. And yes. You get more people and stuff. So
have you ever from the Instagram somebody has copied your artwork? Have you ever come across that? Because that's what somebody says, that from Instagram many people are copying the artwork.
So I haven't had that. Or I haven't seen it yet that somebody's copied my artwork. Sometimes what ends up happening is like a real estate agent will post an artwork but not tag you in the artwork, but they have no rights to promote anything off of your work. So it's not cool, like, to just go and share and not tag the artist. I do find a lot of that happening, whether it's somebody running. If you're running a business, it's not cool. If you're just like a person out, taking photos of something you thought was pretty, but you didn't spend enough time to go and find the person's name, that happens. I'm more than willing to sit there and put in the comment section, hey, I painted that. And people will go back and tag you that way. But I've not had anybody go and like blatantly steal artwork. You would have to, so Instagram doesn't let you pull up the pictures and like screenshot them from your phone, except for real small. So it's not like a thing where you can download the square picture and like actually copy that. You can send things to repost, but then your handle is literally built into that picture. Mm-hmm. So people can't steal. These days, I want to be stolen. I am here to be stolen all day, all night. I sell a lot of coffee cups with artwork on them. So I'm, hashtag coffeegram, hashtag coffee lovers, hashtag fueled by Java. Like anything I can do to get more eyeballs on it. In the days when people do reshare, I'm super jazzed.
Well, yeah, we'll share with you and stuff. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so
I think
much.
that's it. I'm gonna give your address to our treasurer, so you'll be getting your check soon and stuff. So don't worry about that. But I want to thank you because it was a wonderful talk. And I think because we may do mural projects in the future and stuff. So I think if we have any questions, we might ask you about that too and stuff. So, but thank you very much. On a
huge project right now, and you guys are more than welcome to drop by and say hi.
Well, sure. Where's the project again?
This is on Berryessa Road. I'm off of Sierra right now.
Okay.
And this is across from the flea market, basically.
Okay. Across from the flea market.
Center. You can view me from outside the fence, and I'll walk around the inside of the fence with you. It's a huge walk around, and there are 5 murals there now. There will be 15, but you can literally see some of the process.
Should we get you like snacks and water if you, you know?
You know, I haven't had a day yet where I've run out of coffee. Don't you worry about me.
Okay. No, I think, yeah, I was just curious and stuff. One of the things when we were doing the murals and stuff is that at night, I was doing it at night and stuff. And so we would do a coffee run or a hot chocolate run because it was a little bit cold. But other than, because I think me and Kanchan and Kitaki, every once in a while, hey, let's get something warm to drink because we're freezing.
Well, and I can't believe I didn't share with you guys. Me and the kiddos had a coffee maker inside.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.